Assalamu alaikum students. I am Dr. Romana with your histology practical on large intestine. The large intestine is actually subdivided into cecum, colon, rectum and anal canal. And the colon and the cecum are indistinguishable histologically and therefore they are discussed as a single entity. As you know that the main function of the large intestine is absorption of the water, secretion of mucus, digestion and secretion of hormones and production of vitamins. And in this diagram you can see on your left side, that is the whiter portion, is showing the histological features of the small intestine, and on the right side, that is in the blue area, are the histological feature of the large intestine. There is, as you can see in this diagram, that there is a difference in the mucosa of the two. In case of large intestine, there are no villi, no plica, and no very deep crypts or glands of the intestine. So, however, in the small intestine, you can see that there are villi also present. The crypts of the labor cone are very deeply placed, reaching up to the submucosa. And while there are muscularis mucosae is also in the form of a thick layer, while the rest of the layer, that is the submucosa, muscularis externa and adventitia or serosa, is however similar in them. So, if these two parts of the intestine are seen under the microscope, you will see that in the small intestine, the columnar cell and the goblet cell ratio is more columnar cells and few goblet cells. However, the number of the goblet cell is increasing towards the large intestine. In case of colon, they are in the ratio of 3:1, 3 columnar cell and 1 goblet, while when we see that the histological cross section of the rectum, the ratio of the columnar with the goblet cell is in the form of 1:1. So this diagram is showing a little bit of the difference between the mucosa of the two parts of the gut. So the histology, in the histology of colon, in the mucosa of the colon has no plica, no villi, while the epithelium is a simple columnar epithelium with goblet cell. And the number of the goblet cell is 3:1, that is 3 columnar and 1 goblet cell. The simple columnar cells are called as clonocytes, and the other are called as the goblet cell. The lamina propria of the colon contains large number of crypts of labor cone. That is the dipping of the intestinal gland in the lamina propria can be seen in case of colon. In the upper one third, each of these crypts are lined by clonocytes, that is the columnar cells and goblet cells. While in the lower one third of these crypts, that is the deeper part, it is lined mainly with goblet cells and some enteroendocrine cells and undifferentiated stem cells. However, the Paneth cells are completely absent over here. Lymphocytes are present as diffusely dispersed and as well as they are localized in the form of lymphoid nodules. Now, coming over to the muscularis mucosae, it is a thin layer of smooth muscle consisting of inner circular and outer longitudinal layer. Then the submucosa is like that, which is present in the other part of intestine, that it contains dense irregular connective tissue with blood vessel, lymphatics and Meissner plexus of nerve. Then comes the muscularis externa. It is arranged in the form of inner circular layer of smooth muscle. But the outer longitudinal layer of the smooth muscle is actually gathered in the form of thick 3 flat bands of the smooth muscles, and these flat bands are called as tinea coli. These three muscular bands are equidistant and are separated from each other by a very thin layer of longitudinally running smooth muscle fibers. Now, these actually forms the haustrations which we see on the naked eye or in the gross section of colon. Now, the myenteric plexus of nerve lie between the inner and the outer layer of smooth muscles, and the transverse colon and sigmoid colon, they are completely surrounded by serosa, while the anterior surface of the ascending and descending colon is covered by serosa, while the posterior surface is devoid of peritoneal covering. So we will have that adventitia, and it also contains large number of small protrusions which are called as appendix epiploiky. They are composed of adipose tissue. In this diagram you can see that on larger magnification, on the left side you can see that the mucosa contains large number of crypts, which are crypts of Leberkuhn, which are forming an indentation in the lamina propria. And can you appreciate the emptiness? This emptiness in the epithelium is because of the presence of the goblet cell. The number of the goblet cell is increasing, and as I have told you that they are in the ratio of 3:1, 3 columnar cells and 1 goblet cells. And however, the lamina propria is rich in lymphatics and lymphocytes, while muscularis mucosa is in the form of a layer of inner circular and outer longitudinal layer of smooth muscle. Then the submucosa is the usual one, that is, it is made up of dense irregular connective tissue. Muscularis externa is made up of inner circular, while the outer longitudinal layer of the smooth muscle forms are arranged in the form of three thick flat bands which are called as tinea coli. It is a characteristic feature of the colon, and it may be covered with serosa. As I have told you earlier that the transverse colon, sigmoid colon are completely surrounded by serosa, while the anterior surface of ascending and descending colon is also covered by serosa, but the posterior surface is devoid of peritoneal covering, so we will draw adventitia over there. So this completes the colon part of the large intestine. Now coming over to the rectum, histologically the rectum and the colon are resembling each other with only a few differences. First of all, when we see the rectal epithelium, we see that the ratio of the goblet cell has increased further, and they are in the form of 1:1 ratio, that is 1 columnar and 1 goblet cell. Secondly, we will see that the crypts of the Leberkuhn are few, but deeper, but they are deeper crypts. And while the muscularis mucosa is similar, then coming over to the submucosa, it is also similar in both in the colon and the rectum. It is made up of dense irregular connective tissue along with blood vessel, lymphatics, and the nerve plexus, which is called as Meissner's plexus, which is seen under high magnification. Then comes the outer longitudinal. The difference is that the muscularis externa is in the form of inner circular, which is like that of the colon. But in case of colon, we have seen that there is the thickening of outer longitudinal muscle layer in the form of three thick bands, while called as tinea coli. But in case of rectum, these are not present. So the outer longitudinal layer of the muscularis externa is in the form of the usual longitudinal arrangement of the smooth muscles. Then comes that the most of the rectum is covered by connective tissue, which is adventitia. Only the anterior and the lateral surface of the upper one-third of the rectum have a serosal covering. So this is the only, these are the few differences between rectum and colon. So this is the microscopic picture of rectum. You can see that in the epithelium there are present columnar cells and goblet cell in the ratio of 1:1, and the crypts of the labercun are very few but they are deeper. Then the muscularis externa, you can muscularis mucosae you can see, and then the submucosa and the muscularis externa is arranged in the form of inner circular, outer longitudinal, while the outermost layer is adventitia, that is the loose connective tissue with blood vessels, few blood vessels they can be seen. So this completes the histology of large intestine, and we have discussed the two parts of the large intestine, that is the colon and the rectum. So I hope this is clear to you, and moreover it will be explained in the histology lecture of large intestine, and it will become more clear.